ever. And I do feel bad for her. And there hasn't been anything news about her on the air since February, but I'm hoping she's doing quite well. I mean, I'd love to talk to her. She'd be great. I love her to death. But, and also, if you guys are getting up in age, like Meatloaf, you gotta think about your health too. You gotta take a break, and if you can't go further than you've been going, then don't push yourself. Don't make yourself do something you don't really want to do. Follow your gut instinct, follow your heart. And then
that kind of gets into, not to interrupt your flow there, but that does kind of get into a really tricky area too, because a lot of musicians, like, what they want to do is do their music pretty much indefinitely forever, and some of them just won't want to hear that, no, you're just not as capable of doing it anymore. And a lot of people will continue on way past perhaps their prime and even beyond that, when maybe they should have kind of taken a break. And as a musician, this gets back almost to our very first show about music being in a band being addictive. It kind of is. And as you get older, it's something that you really don't want to give up, because you've had so many good times and you put so much time and energy into it. And I mean, you look at people like the Rolling Stones, and you have to wonder, how are they still able to do it?
Well, the thing is, Rolling Stones, aren't they retiring? Or no, it's Aerosmith. Sorry, wrong band.
Aerosmith supposedly is retiring. Meatloaf is retiring. This is his last album. Yes. And it's one of those things where you look at their how long they've been doing this, and you have to wonder what kept them going for so long. It's because they loved what they did, and they ignored certain things about maybe their health that maybe they couldn't or they shouldn't have, and but they were doing what they loved. So it's a really fine line to walk, almost. Like, you want to be like, okay, you guys got to slow down, you guys got to stop working so hard every night, that kind of thing. But as a musician, you're kind of like, no, I don't want to. I want to keep rocking every single night. And then you break a hip on stage or something because you're trying to dance while you're 72 years old or something like that. And it's crazy how that kind of stuff works out. Now, there are bands that pay a lot of close attention to their health as they get older too. Like, for example, I'm going to make somebody really happy to talk about it. Several of the members of Def Leppard are very health oriented. At least one is, I believe, a vegan. Maybe more of them. One of the members of Def Leppard is a vegan. Yeah, one is vegan, two are vegetarian. And these guys, just looking at them, you can tell that they take their health very seriously. Like, one of them in particular, he's one of the guitar players, right? He is like cut. He's got abs that I will never have in my lifetime. And he's in his 60s, and it's like, wow. And you don't want to tell somebody like that, who's at an age where they should be looking after their health, that, maybe you should hang it up, because he's probably in better shape than I am. And it's such a fine line to want to walk. Like, you want these people to stay around, and you want them to stay healthy, even if it's at the expense of hanging up their guitars. But at the same time, if they can still do it, you don't want to take it away from them.
I hear you. Well, I definitely understand where you're coming from, but they want to do a non-stop. I mean, if Meatloaf's health was top notch, I'm pretty sure he'll keep on going if Power to Be will let him. And so it's just really. Then there's there's those older ones, like the experienced musicians like Meatloaf and Aerosmith and Rolling Stones. But then we go into these youngsters who get into the mainstream, and then they hit success so fast they have no clue what to do. They go top notch, and all of a sudden they find themselves in a world of hurt and being sucked into this world, and they got to keep up. How do they keep up? You know?
Yeah, that's one of the things too. If you're getting to be a new musician, and you're going to do anything that's physically demanding about your music, whether you're going to have dancers or whether you're going to dance yourself, or if you're just going to rock out really heavy and be just headbanging on stage all the time, you got to think about how you're going to keep up those energy levels, and you have to think about how you're going to keep yourself in the shape to do that. But a lot of times it's you don't think about that because you're in the moment of, oh yeah, everything's going good, this is my band, we're rocking out, whatever, and it's just a momentary thing. Like, you're not thinking about the future yet because you're having too good of a time.
Mm-hmm. And also, I found this article too on the anxiety that breaks up the musicians on the dark side of the touring. For example, long hours in the van, solitary in the hotel room, screaming fans when you're on the stage, then back home to feed the cat. Musicians talk about their psychology dangers of life on tour, which I just found the article and put it in the chat room. I just found it, so I'll read it. I'll read just a little bit of what I have just skimmed through. Let's see here. While many may engage that life on touring touring musicians to be that of a glorious jet settle, the reality is far from it. A recent study by a charity called Help Musicians UK found that over 60% of musicians have suffered from depression or other kind of issues, with touring an issue for 71 of response. Singer, I'm going to pronounce her name completely wrong, Alien. Well, anyway, recently announced her disturbance from basically distress from her cow punk band, Joanna Gruesome, mental health reasons. Her statement hinting that the strain of touring may have been a factor in her decision to quit. So, and also touring does take a lot out of you. Now, Black Pussy, they're always on tour. They're always mainstreaming. They're always going. And I do hear the stories how one of them are having a great time, the other one's doing this and all that stuff. And so, and also they got Maximus, who just finished their tour, kept breaking down.
Oh yeah, I mean, just think about. I gotta hand it to those guys for hanging in there for so long and not just having an explosion, because what they put up with that van of theirs. Oh my goodness. Ooh, yeah. There's some fortitude those guys have, definitely. Many kudos to them for being able to put up with that kind of stuff going on and not go on a total rampage.
For sure. And then you also have Black Pussy, who has a very controversial band name, who is putting up with all the backslash of their band name, but they're going to continue going on. So it's just like, how do you guys go through all that traveling and you come back and you got to down clothes, get back into reality, get a job and do all that stuff, and here you are just like trying to cope. There's some people who can't handle touring too much. Kudos on you guys for going as far as you possibly can, but if going on the road is too much and you need your isolation, what can you do?
Some of the musicians that I follow, several of them, they don't stop working once they get off tour, and that's basically how they're coping. As soon as their tour is over, they're working on something. They're either working on a new album or just working on new music or working on a soundtrack, or they're doing something because they have to, because this is their life. Their life is a musician, and they'll take time for their family and everything. I mean, they have plenty of time for that, but they're still, it's like Prince is a good example. always working.
Yeah, for sure.
You always hear there's stories that Prince was really enjoyed playing basketball, and I'm sure he would, take a break from what he was doing every so often, play a few rounds of basketball, that kind of thing, de-stress. But he was always working all the rest of the time, and that's just how some musicians cope with everything. They stay focused, they stay eyes on the prize kind of thing, and that's what they do, because they're musicians first and foremost. And if they're not musicians, then what are they? At least in their minds.
For sure. Yeah. So anyone out there in the chat room or wants to call in and talk about this topic, you're more than free to do so. The phone number, hang on a minute, is area code 360-464-4216, and I'll put in the chat room. If you guys want to comment on this topic, we're going to keep it with health for probably the rest of the show. And we'd like to know how you guys deal with your guys' health issues. Because you guys know that I have mine, and I'll talk about that. You guys want to know more about my health issues, I'll be happy to do so. But let's take a small little break. Let's regroup. The phone number's in the chat room, or call in 360-464-4216. And we'll be back. So since we're going into Halloween, and this is October month, here is a song by Manhattan Rob Welsh. This is called Zombies in My Neighborhood. Let's talk about the music.
Look over there, walking up the turnpike. These days you see them almost every day. It's another one of them unsightly zombies. Zombies in my neighborhood. I know that they keep to themselves. I know they don't hurt nobody, but they eat all the flowers and leave a mess on the lawn. And if you hit one, your car will be totaled. Zombies in my neighborhood. They live in a dream, waiting to hit that lucky number. They hang out all day long. They got nothing to do. Not allowed to shoot them. They're immune to poison, smell pretty nasty, and they're always in the way. Keep an eye on your small dogs, put a lid on your garbage. Zombies in my neighborhood. They live in a dream, waiting to hit that lucky number. They hang out all day long. Dandy this morning with the trash can shaman. He ain't looking so good, but he says he feels fine. Got bit by a zombie hiding in the dumpster. Zombies in my neighborhood. They live in a dream, waiting to hit that lucky number. They hang out all day long. They got nothing to do. I think I'll go down to the borough council meeting and see what can be done about these zombies all over town. The mayor said sorry, zombies are protected. Zombies in my neighborhood.